How to become a talent scout. Sports teams, movie studios, and record labels are always looking for their next big star. Talent scouts are the people whose job it is to have their feet on the ground and locate rising stars in their given field. Talent agencies employ the assistance of scouts to seek out talent on their behalf. While talent scouts across many fields share certain experiences, the dizzying array of different talent scout specialties means that each has their own unique responsibilities. Part 1: Starting out as a talent scout. 1. Meet the experience and education requirements for your field. Typically, talent scouts do not need any particular educational background to obtain employment as a scout. The most important factor in a talent scout's success is their experience in the field. A good scout should be well versed in every aspect of the game or industry they're scouting for. There are no absolute educational requirements for becoming a modeling scout, but there are some important personality traits which will benefit you. An athletic scout will usually need at least a high school diploma. If you're an athletic scout that works for a college or university, you might need to have a bachelor's degree too. 2. Develop your conversation skills. The primary quality of a model scout, especially, is the ability to talk to strangers in a non-threatening way and offer them a modeling job. If you have an eye for talent, you should be outgoing and readily offer compliments which are candid and natural. Good conversation skills are important for other types of scouting, as well. Always be friendly and courteous to the people you're working with in your industry. Smile, make eye contact, and use open body language in order to connect not just with potential talent, but with other industry professionals, too. Ask how and what questions. For instance, if someone enjoys Western films, ask, how did you develop an interest in Westerns? These questions draw people out and can inspire longer answers. They show you're interested in what the person is saying. Follow up on people's responses. If someone says they got interested in Westerns because of Clint Eastwood movies, ask them what they think about Eastwood's career after Unforgiven, his last Western. Don't be afraid to interrupt if you have a question. While rude in some contexts, in friendly conversation it shows that you're really curious about what the person is saying. Avoid saying "but." If you ask a question or make a comment beginning with "but," you might be perceived as challenging what your conversation partner said. This could cause friction and unfriendly feelings. Similarly, don't use negative language like don't, isn't, and never when crafting your responses. If you've never seen a Western, instead express that I really want to check out a Western now, they sound great. Balance the conversation. Spend an equal amount of time asking questions and giving answers, and share the conversation with your partner. If one of you talks all the time while the other listens, the listener might get bored. 3. Start in an entry-level position. Starting at the bottom and working your way up sounds tedious, and it might be. But there's no better way to learn the ins and outs of your industry than to get in on the ground floor. Whether it's an internship, a volunteer opportunity, or a paid gig, find an opening in your chosen industry and pursue it. Use this experience to build your resume and get something better down the line. Working your way up from the bottom of a modeling agency from a booking position into a talent scout position will give you a fuller understanding of the skills and knowledge needed to succeed in the modeling industry. It will also familiarize you with the criteria for beauty your agency is interested in. In the case of acting scouts, you'll want to get a production assistantship rather than an internship at a film studio. Studio internships tend to focus on marketing, publicity, or business aspects of the studio. Production assistants work on set and participate in the actual creation of a movie. Eventually, you'll be able to work your way up to casting associate, then casting director, and then go to work as an acting scout. You could also start off as a volunteer or actor for a local community theater. Lots of talented actors and acting scouts get their start doing local plays, and familiarizing yourself with the local theater circuit as a casting director or director's assistant is a good way to prepare for work as a talent scout. 4. Work within the industry you want to become a talent scout for. There are multiple paths into work as a talent scout, but a common one begins with doing scouting as a minor responsibility in an individual's work life. Athletic scouts, for instance, might do some scouting in their role as coach or assistant coach. After successfully identifying and acquiring star players for their team, they might be asked to continue doing so. If some or all of the players they initially identified go on to even greater accomplishments such as playing for a professional sports team, they'll be recognized as having an eye for talent. If you want to be a model scout, get a job as a model or work for a modeling agency as a booker. Experience writing as a fashion reviewer could also be useful. Work as an actor, casting director, executive, director, or producer if you want to become an acting scout. As a music scout for a record label, you'll need to know not just what sounds good, but what is popular and what can make money for the label you work for. You should have a background in music as a musician, record producer, DJ, or club owner. Use your early successes to build your resume and emphasize that you have a proven track record for locating raw talent. 5. Forge connections with industry insiders. Connections are very important in the world of talent scouting. If you want to be a talent scout and have a friend who has progressed into work with a professional team, you should ask him or her to put a good word in for you with the management. If you're an acting scout that wants to make name for yourself, make friends with directors, producers, casting directors, and theater executives. Think broadly about who the movers and shakers are in your industry, and get involved with them and their work. Ask if you can help them locate or evaluate potential talent. Earn the trust of insiders by delivering on your commitments. Take an interest in what your coworkers and bosses do outside of work. Make small talk about their families and hobbies, as well as their work. You'll be more memorable to people if you've taken a friendly interest in them. Spend time talking with your current boss or client about business. Ask big questions about what they look for in a talent scout, where they see the industry headed, and what kind of qualities are needed for success. Use their feedback to refine your own approach and work philosophy. Acting on good counsel and letting industry insiders know you value their input is a good way for you to build connections. Don't limit yourself to current industry leaders. The big names are important now, but the big names of tomorrow will be your current peers. Make time to associate with other talent scouts and up-and-coming professionals. Add industry professionals on social media. Introducing yourself through the internet is a lot easier than trying to get yourself an exclusive invitation to a formal industry function. Invite someone to coffee or lunch with a brief, direct message like, "Hey, I'm part of the insert industry here, just like you. I'd love to pick your brain over lunch. Does Tuesday work for you?" Networking sites like LinkedIn can help you build your resume online and can introduce you to others in your field. As an acting scout, attend acting workshops, seminars, and classes to network and meet others in your field. Gain work experience in theater or movies to meet industry insiders. Part 2. Working as a talent scout. 1. Understand what a talent scout is. A talent scout is someone who locates and identifies rising stars in a given field. For instance, if you were an acting scout, you'd be responsible for going to local plays, auditions, and acting classes to look for talented actors. A talent scout is not the same as a talent agent. A talent agent is someone who acts as a middleman between talented actors, athletes, musicians, etc., and music labels, studios, teams, or other relevant organizations. Talent scouts spot the talent, while talent agents connect the talent with appropriate opportunities and negotiate rates of pay and working conditions. 2. Consider where to locate top talent. Ask yourself where your top candidates are working. In some cases, this is easy. Actors can be found on local stage productions or in auditions. Athletes can be found on the playing field. Musicians, increasingly, can be found showing off their talent in videos online. Use precedent as a guide to locate the talent you want. For instance, if a high proportion of models have been sighted in malls or shopping districts, spend the weekend at your local mall walking around and looking for people who might be interested in becoming models. 3. Identify firms that hire talent scouts. Your given field will determine where you are hired. If you're an athletic talent scout, you might work with a college or university's athletics division, a professional or amateur sports team, or a high school. If you are an acting scout, on the other hand, you might find work with one of the major film studios like Warner Brothers, Fox, or Regency. Some talent scouts work with multiple talent agencies, but most agencies will have a staff member who is responsible for scouting talent. 4. Represent the talent to the organization you're working for. After seeing a great baseball player, for example, you'll need to be able to go back to the team you're working for and explain why this particular player would make such a valuable contribution to the team. In addition to their obvious talent for playing ball, consider how the potential recruit's personality, education, and/or work ethic makes them a good pick for your team. 5. Go into business for yourself. If you don't want to freelance or be tied to a particular organization, you could establish your own talent scouting business. You could incorporate talent agents into your business too to diversify the services you offer to clients. Being your own boss can be hard, though, and requires lots of discipline and time management, but for some, the rewards are well worth it. It's highly recommended to have experience in the talent scouting business before starting your own scouting business. Have 6 months of savings to live off before starting your talent business. Establish your name, acquire offices, phone numbers, a website, and business licenses. Promote your business through social media. Attract potential recruits, especially actors, models, and musicians, through the internet. Use the internet proactively in your search for new talent as well. 6. Find your niche. In other words, try to find a particular type of talent and focus on identifying it. Become an expert in your area of interest. For instance, don't try to scout for just any models. Focus on locating specific types of models, plus-sized models, child models, male models, and swimsuit models are just some of the many varieties you could consider. If you're a comedy talent scout, don't look for just any comedian, look for ones who excel in, for example, slapstick humor. Once you've established a track record of successfully identifying your talent niche, you will be able to leverage that experience into a better position. Part 3. Identifying personality traits of a potential scout. 1. Have passion for the field you want to be a scout in. If you want to be an athletic scout, choose which sport you're most passionate about. If you want to be a modeling scout, you should be excited about and familiar with the latest trends in fashion and design, and understand the effects of makeup, hair, and styling choices. Having that passion will not only make you enjoy your job, it will also make you better at it as you accrue the expertise and knowledge needed to identify star talent. 2. Learn to enjoy travel. Being a talent scout involves lots of exciting opportunities to jet around the world. As a model scout, you'll go to top fashion and design centers like Paris, Milan, and New York City. As an athletic scout for a baseball team, you might venture across the US, Japan, and Cuba looking for the best players. However, all the travel can easily burn some people out. Sitting in airports, waiting for buses and trains, and sleeping in hotels night after night can be stressful for even the most dedicated scouts. 3. Have an eye for the talent you're scouting. If you're a basketball scout, you should be able to identify players who bring a new or unique energy to the game. If you're a model scout, you should recognize an individual whose physique and physiognomy match the criteria of beauty your agency is looking for. Acting scouts should be familiar with the range and abilities of top actors so they can spot similar performances in rising talent. 4. Possess strong persuasion and negotiating skills. A talented individual might have offers from many different teams, agencies, or music labels. Being able to convince them that yours is the right choice is a crucial skill. Make sure you understand what the recruit is looking for and be clear about what you can bring to the table for them. 5. Be professional. Don't be late to appointments. Do not lie to your talent or make promises you cannot keep. Do not mouth other talent scouts or agencies. Do not use your job as a personal dating service or sexually harass the models you scout and work with. Ensure the individuals you scout remain as happy as possible and be honest in your dealings with them at all times.